standpoint? You talked a little bit earlier, just one practice after the break. Did the game flow the way that you thought that it might after the break?
Yeah, I mean, it was sloppy in stretches. You know, you could tell we were not as sharp as we'd like to be, but that's, you know, that I'm not faulting the players for that. You know, they needed their break. You know, this was an easy game to lose. You know, he played a very good team that won 4 in a row, that is healthy as they've been. And, you know, we weathered a couple storms out there. First quarter wasn't great. They had a 9-0 run to start the second half. And after that, we played great basketball overall. So proud of the guys. But some rust and, you know, their concentration levels and their effort were excellent to get the game in hand.
Expounding on that, we know it's a luxury to have closers like a Kyrie Irving and a James Harden. What were some other things that you noticed in that fourth quarter during the crucial minutes of the game that you were proud of?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kyrie was sensational. James managed the game as he does, but everyone made big shots. You know, there was moments in both halves where Landry made big threes when we were struggling. Jeff Green made a big three. Tyler made a big three. Nick Claxton's fourth quarter minutes were better, I thought. So there was that, but it was also, I just thought, you know, getting stops when we needed it. You know, didn't turn the ball over in the second half like we did in the first, and got stops when we needed it. So, and that's the way it's got to be. You got to take care of the basketball, and we got to find a way to go on defensive runs.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, Steve, twofold. Were there any tactical things that you did to better handle their defense that clearly, obviously, turned you guys over early on? And secondly, I mean, you mentioned Kyrie. I mean, he was probably every bit as good on Christmas against the same team. I mean, do you get the vibe that he really gets up to play this team? If there's anything extra there for him?
I mean, you could start to make the case for it. I don't really look into it. You know, Kai's as likely to give anyone else in the league 40 as he is the Celts. But, you know, tactically, we, you know, I don't want to take any credit. I think we were a little sloppy in the first half. We were careless with the basketball. That hurt our defense as much as it did our offense. So as the game wore on, I thought we played better, and we just had to be a little sharper against their zone, you know, and some of their schemes. And so we just tried to, a couple timeouts, make sure that our guys were reminded after the break of how we're handling a zone, how we're handling when they double up high, how we're handling some different scenarios so that they could attack and get good shots, and they were fantastic down the stretch.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Steve, you guys had 28 second chance points tonight. I'm just curious what you'd attribute to that.
Effort, you know. I mean, you know, for us, that's always great when we get on the glass at the offensive end. You know, it's sometimes it's also situational. It's the night. It's a number of things. I wouldn't rely on that all the time. But I thought overall our effort was really good tonight, considering, you know, we didn't have a lot of training in our legs or sharpness, but our effort was there, our concentration was there, and I was proud of the way we resumed play, and the offensive rebounds go to show that.
Bruce Beck, NBC New York.
Steve, getting stops when we needed it. In that 13-3 run to complete the game, you got those stops. Are you getting better in your mind at buckling down when you have to?
Well, we're definitely trending in the right direction defensively. You know, we've been getting better for a while now. I think we've found a direction. We found, obviously, an understanding of that direction in our schemes, the layers to our schemes, different matchups, lineups. I think the players are more connected, and they're taking pride in it. So we are trending in that direction, but this is something that we have to address and approach as underdogs forevermore. You know, we got to really have a pride in trying to prove that we can defend.
Simone Sandri, La Gazzetta dello Sport.
Yeah, picking up on Bruce's question, how satisfied are you of James Harden defense? Obviously an underrated part of his game. And it seems that on important possession, you can really count on his discipline and his effort on defense. He's
been very good defensively for us. You know, he, you know, high IQ. Obviously, he played a switching defense in Houston, so it suits him in that he can kind of dictate and quarterback the defense in a lot of ways. But he is very underrated on the ball. When he needs a stop, he can get a stop. He's a terrific post defender. He also is an incredible rebounder for his size. So, defensively, he's a plus for us, and I think it is underrated, and I think he's definitely taking pride in that end of the floor and knows he's here to try to win. And he knows that defensive end is something we can't let slip, and he's definitely taking a leadership role in that.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Coach, we were talking before the All-Star break about what type of impact the layover would have, having how many X amount of days between games. Obviously you guys won 10 out of 11 beforehand. Now you pick up here. Does it kind of feel like you guys kind of just picked up where you left off?
A little bit. Obviously, like we said, it was a little sloppy at times, and that's to be expected. Overall, the guys I thought played an outstanding game considering the layoff, and it does feel at the end of the night like we have picked up where we left off. But I think we also got to really understand this is going to be such a unique experience for everyone. Everything. This first 8 days is going to be really hard to practice. We have to practice in the evening because COVID results have to come back in. So everyone's clock is going to be challenged here, especially in the 8 days, but even the rest of the way, having 35 games in 67 days, it's just much of the same. And so we're asking a lot of these guys, they've delivered, they've grown, they've improved, they've come together. And so it does feel like we've continued on, but that's something that we can't ever say, okay, this is who we are. We got to always strive to rinse every little bit of our ability and our, cohesion out of each other so that by the end of the road, we're a really good team.
Last question, Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Hey, Steve, I'm curious if you notice or you feel or how you feel Blake's presence on the bench tonight in his first game, not playing, but with you all.
Well, as my nan from London would have said, he had a lovely jumper on. So that's British for sweater. So I thought he came he came with a dope sweater. I just think Blake's a high IQ, great teammate, experienced. Everyone respects him, so his presence is felt, and we're just happy to have him. And hopefully we can incorporate him soon.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.